welcome to Beauty Abroad International. Today's discussion is going to be on scar treatment options and the things that you can do to have the best looking scar after surgery. So stay tuned. So the two main goals with incisions is that they heal as thinly and as lightly as possible so that they're not very apparent and visible after they're all healed up. And today we're going to be talking about the top 5 things that you can do in order to have the best looking incision after surgery. For the first 6 to 8 weeks after surgery, you're going to have the most amount of swelling and edema. And so it's important that you try to keep the swelling down as much as possible because that does place an unnecessary amount of tension and strain on the incision sites, causing them to heal up thicker, raised, and darker. So our number one recommendation after surgery is that with your doctor's permission, you wear either a compression garment and or faja for the first 6 to 8 weeks in order to reduce the amount of swelling that you experience and as a secondary effect, reducing the amount of tension that is going to be placed on your incisions after surgery. And this will help your incisions heal as thinly as possible. Our second recommendation is that you start to use either a Vaseline or Aquaphor on your incisions after surgery. Now, how soon you can start using this will depend on your doctor. Some doctors will let you use it as early as 2 or 3 days after surgery, and some would like for you to wait until the incision is scabbed over. So follow your doctor's recommendation. But using these products will help keep the incisions moist and will help decrease the appearance of scarring, darkening, and or thickened scars after surgery. Now, the ideal way to use this product is to apply a thin layer over all of your incisions and try to use it at least 2 or 3 times a day in order to keep the incision moist as much as possible. Our third recommendation is that you leave your scab alone. A lot of people are tempted to pick at their scabs when they see them because they don't like the way they look, but they actually serve a really useful purpose, and that's to keep a nice sealed environment and also to keep that moistened environment that we were talking about in order for your incisions to heal up as thinly and as lightly as possible. So if you do have scabs growing, that's good. It means that your incisions are healing. So just leave them alone. They will fall off on their own, and then you can move to step 4. Alright, so you've waited patiently for your scabs to fall off on their own, and now you're ready for step 4, which is silicone treatment. So silicone gel has been proven to help decrease raised scars as well as lighten them. So they're a great treatment option. Now there are a couple things that you need to keep in mind when you're using silicone gel. And the very first thing is that you have to wait until your incisions are completely healed and sealed, which means they have scabbed over and the scabs have fallen off and the incision's completely sealed. You don't have any open spots, and that is very important because you don't want to start using silicone on any incisions that are still open because they can go into the body and be toxic for you, okay? So very important. Now, when it comes to silicone, you have 2 main options, which is either a silicone tape or silicone gel. So I have here 2 types of silicone gel. This one's called Coat, and then I have Biochromium, okay? And these are 2 gels. Now, between the two, between the tape and the gel, I do have a preference for the gel because the tape is very expensive and you can go through a lot of tape very quickly. If you've had, for example, a mommy makeover, you can go through 3 feet of tape very easily. And each one of these boxes have about 5 feet in them. Now, you can get some with more tape in them, but they're pretty pricey. And they don't stick very well in my opinion. They tend to shift a lot. So if I had to choose between the 2, I do have a preference for the gel. Now the best way to use silicone is as follows. If you're using silicone tape, you ideally want to have this on 24/7. So the only time you would take this off is to shower, you dry off, and you would reapply it right away. Now it is reusable, so you can peel it off and save it and wear it again. But if it starts becoming soiled and starts looking a little questionable, you definitely want to use a new piece, okay? Because you don't want to risk any infections or anything like that. If you're using the silicone gel, you want to apply this on at the very least twice a day, but ideally 3 times a day is possible. You're just going to apply a very light coat with your finger with clean hands and put this on about 2 to 3 times a day. Now, the difference between the Kelacoat and the biocormium is that the biocormium has sunscreen in it as opposed to the Kelacoat doesn't. And so this is a great product because of the sunscreen, but if you don't have or can't find this and you do have this one, then you can use this and then just use sunscreen over top. So which is gonna be our number 5. So here we go. And our 5th recommendation is probably the most important, and that is that for the first year after surgery, you always and consistently wear sunblock on your incisions of an SPF of about 50. The reason for this is because incisions have a tendency to hyperpigment, which means they become darker when exposed to the sun as opposed to the rest of your skin. So in order to have the lightest scar possible, you need to keep your incisions protected from the sun at all times, regardless of whether you're wearing clothing over them or not, because the sun rays can penetrate through clothing and still make your incisions darker if you're not wearing sunblock. So very important tip. So just to recap, the 5 things that you can do in order to have the best looking incision and scar after surgery is number 1, with your doctor's permission, wear a faja or compression garment for the first 6 to 8 weeks after surgery to help decrease the swelling and tension on the incision lines so that it can heal as thinly as possible. Number 2, use Vaseline and or Aquaphor on the incisions as soon as your doctor says it's okay to, so that you can keep the incision moist and help the healing process. Number 3, leave your scabs alone. Don't mess with your scabs because they will help make your incisions much nicer once they fall off on their own. Number 4, use silicone gel or silicone tape. And number 5, make sure to wear sunblock of a SPF of at least 50 for the first year after surgery. Hopefully those tips were helpful. There'll be many more videos to come. You guys have a great day. Take care. As we say at Beauty Abroad International, it's your beauty magnified. Bye.